Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all my Koala Yugioh deck profile. Wanted to do this deck profile for probably one of the strongest Yu-Gi-Oh characters in all of the GX anime, and that is Chumley. I've actually thought of doing a beast type of deck for quite some time now. I'm a big fan of all the spell cards like Ayers Rock Sunrise, Obedient School, and it was actually my girlfriend that gave me the idea to stick to koalas because they actually have an interesting play style with summoning themselves face down with some of your other support, having fusions above all else. A couple of them I actually forgot existed. So after working on the deck, I think I've come up with probably a very fun deck at that, but also what I found to be probably the most consistent koala deck that I could make with the cards we have in the game so far. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So to start off, for the Koala Monsters, our first Koala Monster, the main one, also Chumley's Spirit card, is Des Koala. It's a flip effect. Inflict 400 points of direct damage to your opponent. Life points for each card in your opponent's hand. So just being able to have this card set up, it's got 1800 defense, so pretty good defense as well. Just being able to burn your opponent for that damage definitely does come in handy. You have to run 3 Des Koala just for the fact that it is Chumley's main go-to monster for the deck. I think I actually can't remember if he has, in all the duels he's played, start off with Des Koala for each one of his plays, but a definite 3 of for any koala deck anywhere. And then for his big go-to fusion monster, which is Master of Oz, we also have to run Big Koala, which I'm running only 2 of, just for the fact that this card is a powerhouse at that, but it also, if you have 3 of this card in your hand, it can be kind of a dead draw unless you have polymerization to fusion summon the card out as well, because Master of Oz is a vanilla fusion monster, but does have some pretty strong stats, and being able to set it up in the graveyard can put a lot more use to it, since we can just special summon it back to the field instead of having to waste 2 tribute summons on the card. And I also run 2 Des Kangaroo. This one, one of the non-koala monsters we run in the deck, but still needed for the Master of Oz. With this one, when the attack of a monster that attacks this monster is lower than the defense of this monster, destroy the attacking monster during damage calc. So it's just a kind of like a powerhouse kangaroo at that to go for, with Chumley's deck being a sole focused on the down under cards, kangaroos, koalas, you name it, with just this having as another fusion option for what you need for Master of Oz. Just another 2 of, for the fact that it is searchable with some of the other cards we run in the deck also. For some of the other more consistent cards for the koala plays, I also have 3 Sea Koala. I run 3 of this card for the fact that it is an Obedient School target, but also once per turn, if you control another beast-type monster, you can reduce the attack of one monster your opponent controls to 0 until the end phase. So with your other beast-type monsters, if you can fusion summon it out and then get Sea Koala out, you can have some pretty big damage go up against your opponent, just putting their attack down to 0. And then, like I said, Master of Oz has 4,200 attacks. If you can swing with this beast-type monster, very, very powerful indeed against your opponents. And then I also run 2 Vampiric Koala. If you wanted to reduce the number of Sea Koala and bump this one up to 3, it's one of the more powerful koala monsters, having 1,800 attack. And if this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by battle with a monster, gain life points equal to the battle damage inflicted. I would say it's more of a vampire card than a koala card, but still has koala in the name, still has the same stats as koala, earth attributes as well, being a beast. Gives us options for our synchros that we run in the extra deck as well, Naturia Beast and Barkion needing earth monsters, and having this one as a level 4 just helps to adjust some of the numbers with the tuner monsters that we run in the deck also. And I have 1 Tree Otter in the deck. I was thinking of bumping this card up. If I do, I would show what card I would remove for a second copy of it. But once again, another Obedient School target when we get to the spell cards, but once per turn you can target one face-up monster you control. It gains 1,000 attack until the end of this turn. You must control another beast-type monster other than this card to activate and resolve this effect. So just very, very helpful with that boost. Just remember with Obedience School, the effects are negated, but if you open up these cards otherwise and use these effects or just special summon them back from the graveyard as well, it can be very, very helpful for just boosting up your monsters that you control. And then I also run 2 Super Nimble Mega Hamster. It's a flip effect. You can special summon 1 level 3 or lower beast-type monster from your deck in face-down defense. Now, for the longest time, I thought that Desk Koala was a level 4. It's actually level 3, so it works very, very well with Nimble Hamster. Just being able to set up your flip monster, Desk Koala, as well with the Mega Hamster on the field. Just giving you more and more options if your opponent's playing against you and they don't know what to expect. They can either hit the hamster or they could hit the Desk Koala, which also have the same attack stats now that I look at them as well. But once again, very, very strong move at that also. And then for the other one-ofs, these are ones that I run for the Obedience School targets, also being beast-type monsters, but they're also your tuners, Elephant and Key Mouse. I don't use them necessarily as much for their actual effects, more so just for the fact that they are an Obedience School target, and they are also tuners, so you can go for the synchro play of Naturia Beast if need be with some of your other cards. The 3 setup, definitely. Just remember, you need the specific cards on the field as well for those numbers, and Naturia Beast also needs Earth monsters. Just remember, if you go for your Tree Otter, which is a water monster, you won't be able to make Beast with those, but with other resources, when we get to Obedience School in the deck profile, I'll explain how that better can work. And lastly, I also run 1 King of the Swamp. This can be mixed and matched with some of your other ones if you want to run more of it. Being able to fill in the spot for some of your other fusions, since you need specific names. For the fusions we have in the extra deck, having King of the Swamp just as an extra substitute and also a fusion search definitely does come in handy in the deck. And that is it for the monsters. I wanted to keep it as pure of a beast type of deck for the koalas as I could. I'm happy with the consistency numbers. With some of the spells, adding extra protection and fusion support, it definitely does come together nicely. For the spells, for the field spells, I run 2 Closed Forests. All beast-type monsters you control gain 1 heart attack for each monster in your graveyard. Field spell cards cannot be activated, and field spell cards cannot be activated during this turn. This card is destroyed. It's just a power boost for monsters in the graveyard for your beast-type monsters, which is the majority of what we run in the actual deck. For the 3rd field spell, I also run 1 Fusion Recycling Plant. Once per turn, you can discard 1 card and add 1 Polymerization from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And once per turn, during the end phase, you can target 1 monster in your graveyard that was used as a fusion material for the fusion summon and add to your hand. So you can either add back, Big Koala, Dace Kangaroo, your Sea Koala, or your Tree Otters for all your other fusion options. But just having these and then having the Terraforming search option to pick what field spell you want to go for definitely does come in handy as well. And I also run 2 Spiritual Forests. Each turn, the first face-up beast or beast warrior or plant-type monster you control that would be destroyed by battle is not destroyed. This is more protection for some of your smaller koala monsters, just so you can use the next turn for some of your summons, keeping them safe on the field as well. And I also run Chumley's main designed card, 3 Ayers Rock Sunrise. You target 1 beast-type monster in your graveyard, special summon that target, and if you do, all face-up monsters your opponent currently control lose 200 attack for each beast, plant, and wing beast-type monster currently in your graveyard until the end of this turn. You can only activate 1 Ayers Rock Sunrise per turn. It doesn't have any limitation for your beast-type monsters. It's a definite 3 of. With Polymerization, you can set up a lot of your beast-type monsters in the graveyard and then just special summon them back with Ayers Rock Sunrise. So a very, very helpful spell card. It's almost like we're running 4 Monster Reborns, which we are also running when we get to the 1-ofs of the spells in the deck, but definitely a 3 of for sure in any koala deck. And I also run 2 Obedience School. Now, this can be mixed and matched depending on what else you want to run. I like the 2. We don't run too many level 2s in the deck. It's just an added option to swarm the field with a lot of other monsters, even getting out the 2 monsters we need for Koala. So very, very helpful there for sure. But with this one, if you control no monsters, you special summon 3 level 2 or lower beast-type effect monsters with different names from your deck. Their effects are negated and they are destroyed during the end phase. If you activate this card, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn. Reborn except beast type monsters. So with this card, you're not really limited with this deck. We have a good number of beast types in the extra deck, but most of the time, like I said, you'll just use them for your fusion summons when they get out to the field, or some of your other plays like your synchro into Naturia Beast, which is a beast type monster. And then I also run 2 Polymerization, just searchable, with the Fusion Recycling Plant or King of the Swamps. So you have those options there with this card. And I also run 2 Terraforming. This is just for searching with the 2 field spells we have in the deck as well. And I also run the 1 Scapegoat. They are also beast types, so I figured with some of the extra deck options with this card, you're not really limited with your beast type summoning with some of your other ones, also with Scapegoat on the field, but just a good option to have in the deck. And then lastly, for the spells, the Monster Reborn, like I said, with Ayers Rock Sunrise, you're basically running 4 Monster Reborns for all the cards in your graveyard as well. And then for the traps, just as a more powerhouse card for sure, I run 3 Horn of the Phantom Beast. You target 1 beast or beast warrior type monster and equip it to that target. It gains 800 attack, and if the equipped monster destroys your opponent's monster by battle and sent to the graveyard, draw 1 card. Now, there's not really much other draw power in the deck, but just having this option to build up your hand as well as bumping up some of your other beast type monsters definitely does come in handy for sure. And then for some of the other ones, I run 1 Berserk King. It's a continuous trap once per turn during your main phase or your opponent's battle phase. You can select 2 face-up beast-type monsters on the field until the end of this turn. One of the selected monsters loses half its attack, and the other one gains. So more of a beef-up card for your koalas on the field, just being able to hit higher stats. I definitely do like it. The 1-of with some of your other traps mixed in, it can be a pretty scary combo to go up against. And lastly, I run 2 Fusion Reserves, just being able to search out any of your targets in the extra deck and grab their monsters, and potentially also recycle a Polymerization. Definitely does help with the deck as well. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra. I have the 1 Master of Oz in the extra deck. If you wanted to run a second copy, you could take out one of the generic link monsters we run in the deck, or you can adjust around your numbers of Koala. With this one, you need Sea Koala and Tree Otter to make it. You can send 1 beast-type monster from your hand to the graveyard to target 1 monster your opponent controls and destroy it. A very strong effect at that. Being able to also set up your graveyard for Ayers Rock Sunrise is another key play with this card. I definitely do like to go into Koala a lot more than Master of Oz if I need more of a card to get over some of my opponent's pesky monsters, but Master of Oz being 4,200 attack is definitely a strong powerhouse as well. And then I run 1 number 64 Ronin Raccoon Sandayu just for the level 2 option with the beasts if I don't have any of the other ones. Having this card and its token power definitely does come in handy. And for the synchros, I run 1 Leo, Keeper of the Sacred Tree, while 1 Naturia Beast and 1 Naturia Barkion. These 2 I definitely do go into a lot when I have the options for Barkion, and if I'm going up against a heavy trap deck, I do like that as well. And then for the Link monsters, I run 1 Mrs. Radiant. We have a good number of Earth monsters in the deck, so very, very helpful for sure. All being beasts, 1 Akashic Magician, 1 Underclock Taker, 1 Security Dragon, 1 Triple Burst Dragon, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, and 1 Borolo Dragon to finish off the extra deck. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. And like I said, if you're a big fan of koalas like Chumley is, definitely give this deck a try. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.